At the start of the film, we meet a young boy named Michele Silenzi, pedaling his bicycle through the streets of Trieste, Italy, on his way to school. He carries with him an old 50-year note, planning to use it to buy a costume for an upcoming celebration. Once in class, he sits behind his secret crush, Stella, quietly watching her. Their lesson is cut short when Giovanna, a local police officer and Michele's mother, enters to talk about a missing student. She asks the class to contact the authorities if they hear anything useful before leaving. Not long after, Michelle's nose begins bleeding, so he rushes to the washroom. Unfortunately, his regular bullies corner him there and force him to hand over all the money he has. Feeling crushed, Michelle goes home and digs out a small stash of coins he had been saving. Determined not to give up, he heads to a shabby shop in search of a superhero outfit. The shopkeeper gives him a tight jumpsuit with a floppy cape, insisting it belonged to a legendary Chinese hero. Though unimpressed, Michelle buys it. Later, when Giovanna comes home, she finds him sulking in the costume, refusing to attend the party because he feels ridiculous. She comforts him, says he looks fine, and sends him off. At the party, Michele actually manages to enjoy himself and even exchanges words with Stella. But the bullies spoil everything by projecting a video of Stella walking outside, claiming it was secretly recorded on Michelle's phone. Accused of stalking, Michelle panics and locks himself in the bathroom. His classmates pound on the door, demanding he come out. Feeling humiliated, Michelle wishes he could vanish right before the power goes out. In the next moment, he escapes through the bathroom window and runs home. The following morning, Michelle wakes up to his dog barking strangely at him. Thinking little of it, he goes to brush his teeth, only to freeze at the mirror. Instead of his reflection, only the toothbrush and his robe are visible. Shocked, Michelle strips off the robe, and that's when his mother walks in. Strangely, she doesn't notice him at all, proving his body is invisible. To cover his tracks, Michelle scribbles a quick note saying he left early for school and places it on the bed. Giovanna accepts the note and steps out, later trying to call him on the phone. Michelle answers while still invisible, making her more puzzled. Unsure what else to do, he puts on full-body clothing and heads to school, keeping his distance from Stella. When Michelle spots his bully, he decides it's payback time. Stripping off his clothes, he sneaks inside, unseen. During class, he grabs the bully's paintball gun and shoots at the teacher, which results in the bully's suspension. Feeling mischievous, he then sneaks into the girls' changing room. But just as he's getting carried away, a towel lands over him, revealing his shape. To make matters worse, his invisibility fades, exposing him completely. The girls scream at the sight of a naked Michelle caught red-handed. The next day, Michele attends class where Basili, a psychologist, speaks about teenagers' emotional struggles. With recent reports of classmates running away from home, Basili emphasizes the need to understand young minds. As Michele listens, his hands suddenly glow and vanish again. Alarmed, he dashes out before anyone notices. Back home, fully covered in long clothes, he walks into his room only to find his younger sister, Candela, sitting there. Michelle gently asks her to go downstairs and face the wall, trying to keep his secret safe. A doubtful Candela pretends to leave by opening and shutting the door, but secretly stays in the room. Believing she's gone, Michelle begins removing his clothes. When he finally turns around, Candela screams in shock. Her brother's body is invisible. Michelle quickly reassures her, explaining that his strange costume has somehow given him supernatural powers. Meanwhile, at the police station, psychiatrist Basili discusses the missing children's case with Giovanna. Giovanna is convinced that the kids have been abducted, but Basili dismisses it, insisting they are simply running away as an act of youthful rebellion. Later, when Giovanna returns home, Michelle remains unseen. She talks on the phone, unknowingly revealing that Michelle was actually adopted. Heartbroken, Michelle slips out of the house and heads to a nearby swing. As he sits there lost in thought, Stella appears. Spotting movement, she mistakes him for a ghost. Surprisingly, she isn't afraid, and instead offers her friendship. Michelle draws a smiling face in the sand to communicate. They agree to meet again soon. After Stella leaves, Michelle notices a man nearby, staring directly at him. Despite his invisibility, the man walks away with the help of a stick, showing that he is blind. That night, Michelle secretly visits Stella's home. She is thrilled to have an unseen companion, and the two share a tender kiss. But suddenly, Michelle's powers start fading, forcing him to flee before Stella can recognize him. Later, while Stella is practicing gymnastics alone, she is struck by a dart that knocks her unconscious. At the same time, Michele decides he must confess to Stella about his powers. With his dog at his side, he heads toward her gym hall, only to witness a masked man carrying her away. Michele attacks, and his dog bites the man's hand, but the kidnapper still escapes with Stella. The police arrive soon after, and finally realize the children were not runaways but victims of abduction. Stella later wakes up inside a strange laboratory, her head wired to machines. To her horror, Vasily is there, revealing himself as the mastermind behind the kidnapping. He oversees experiments on her before locking her in a cell, where the other missing kids are already being held. The next morning, Michele wanders alone on a beach when the blind man reappears. Strangely, he responds to Michele's unspoken questions as if he can hear his thoughts. When pressed about his identity, the man reveals his name, Andre, and claims to be Michele's real father. Michele refuses to believe him, accusing him of lying. Andre then begins to tell his story. He was once an ordinary man from a Russian town until a catastrophic nuclear blast struck, killing many but mutating the DNA of the survivors. Those who lived gained extraordinary powers. Some could fly, some could read minds, others could vanish. They became known as the Specials and were forced into a secret military program called the Division. The Division exploited their abilities, draining them to the point of weakness. Another side effect was infertility. None could have children, except Andre and a woman who possessed invisibility. Together, they gave birth to Michele, the first child of their kind. Fearing the Division would seize him, the couple fled. The soldiers chased them relentlessly. Andre, with his telepathy, and Michele's mother, with her invisibility, fought to protect him. But tragedy struck. Michele's mother was killed during the pursuit. After hearing the truth about his birth, Michele is stunned and struggles to accept it. But Andre warns that they don't have time. Nearby, a fisherman has grown suspicious of him and already alerted the police. Before leaving, Andre gives Michele a suit that blends into his invisibility and wipes the fisherman's memory clean. Soon after, the police arrive with Vasily. During their conversation, Giovanna admits that Michele is adopted, which convinces Vasily that the boy could be the child thereafter. He offers to escort Michele home. Once there, Michele notices the scar on Vasily's hand, exactly where his dog had bitten Stella's abductor. Realizing the truth, Michele tries to escape, but Vasily has locked the house down. Michele rushes into a room, strips off his clothes, and vanishes from sight, narrowly slipping away while Vasily chases him. Out on the streets, Michele spots his bully Ivan riding a bike. He hops on behind him, whispering urgently to ride fast. Nervous but frightened, Ivan complies. When they finally reach a safer area, Michele reveals himself and explains that their classmates have been kidnapped. Meanwhile, inside the facility, Stella and the other missing children discover a vent in the ceiling. They climb on each other, and Stella squeezes through, hiding from guards until she climbs a tower. Spotting a searchlight, she shines a smiling face into the night sky, hoping her invisible friend will see it. Michele notices the glowing signal and realizes Stella is reaching out. He and Ivan rush toward the source, but Stella is recaptured by guards just as they arrive. Thinking quickly, Ivan uses his paintball gun to short-circuit the power while Michele slips inside unseen. There, Michele spies on Vasily and his team, who are tracking Giovanna and Andre as they search for him together. Michele moves deeper into the building to unlock the cell, holding Stella and the rest of the children. After freeing them and trapping the guards inside, he reveals himself, leaving his friends shocked. The rescued kids beg to escape immediately, but Stella insists they must help an old man locked elsewhere. She and Michele find him, but to Michele's horror, Stella suddenly points a gun at him. She then collapses unconscious, and the old man behind her begins to speak. He reveals his ability to control minds. He has been manipulating both Vasily and Stella to lure Michele into his trap. With a wave of power, he summons a submarine and forces Michele and Stella aboard. The vessel submerges, taking them far into the sea. At the same time, realizing the entire place is rigged to explode, they rush inside and rescue the captured children and Vasily himself. Andre scans Vasily's thoughts and confirms he had been under someone else's control. They flee just in time as the structure detonates into rubble. Inside the submarine, Michele discovers a new ability, telekinesis. Fueled by desperation, he unleashes his power, wrecking the interior. He overpowers the men, defeats them, and rescues Stella. Together, they escape to the shore, where a crowd has gathered. There, Michele vanishes in front of everyone, proudly displaying the gift he once doubted. Andre explains to Michelle that everyone's memories must be erased, otherwise the division will keep coming after them. Michelle agrees, sharing one last kiss with Stella before Andre wipes the memories and promises to return someday. Life slowly returns to normal for the town, as if nothing unusual had ever happened. The scene then shifts to a hidden base in Russia. Michelle's mother, long believed to have died, was only badly injured in the past. She had survived, defeated the division's leaders, and eventually taken control of the organization herself. It is revealed that she was the one who sent the operatives to capture Michel, intending to bring him back under her command. A soldier enters and reports that although they failed to capture Michele, they have discovered something else. His twin sister Natasha is alive. A flashback shows that Andre had escaped with not one, but 2 infants on that fateful day. The film ends with the revelation that Natasha is currently in Morocco, setting the stage for a sequel. Subscribe for more stories like this, turn on the notification bell, and don't forget to leave a like to support the channel. Thanks for watching.